Hi everyone, so here's a short video just to help open up around the spaces of the body. I'm going to particularly work on the back now. It's really easy for us to get quite rounded. If you're at home and you're perhaps working at home, you might be working off a laptop rather than a desktop in the office. You might find yourself sitting in an awkward position. It's tempting sometimes just to sit on the sofa with it. But even if you're at your table, your kitchen table, it's generally not the same sort of ratio of height that you're used to in the office. So we can get a little bit rounded, we can get a bit tight. So I really want to work a little bit on opening us up. And the other thing, of course, fear and all the emotions that we're feeling at the moment around this current situation can make us feel quite drawn in. We tend to go a little bit fetal, a little bit protected. So we're going to work particularly opening across the chest, mobilising the spine, just getting a sense of being open and maybe being able to breathe again. Okay, so lay yourselves down onto your mat, lying on the back. So just take a moment to notice how you feel, because you're going to feel different every single day. So just get a feeling of widening those shoulders, of putting some length into the back of the neck. As always, when you lie down, you should be looking at the ceiling above you and naturally slightly forward towards your knees. Not massively, but that should be the bias. If you're looking up with a bias towards the wall behind you, then it might be that you just need to rethink what's going on in the back of the neck, possibly putting a very small towel or something at the back of the neck that will allow you to naturally drop your chin down a little bit. Just open up that space. So we've got that little bit of natural curvature in the back of the neck. Feel how the shoulders and the back of the ribs connect down, and then take a moment or two just to rock the pelvis forward and back, allowing your low back to press into the floor and then release away. Don't exaggerate it, you just want to get a feeling of being able to move across the back of the pelvis. And then come to rest between that, where you feel like the front edge of the pelvis, the pubic bone, the hip bones, the navel, all pretty level. If you were to place a bowl of water on there, the bowl of water would be fairly level. And your feet and knees want to be in line with your hip points, okay? So not the width of your bottom. Don't know how big my bottom's going to be by the time we come out of this, but definitely don't want to put my feet as wide as that, otherwise I'll be probably depressed. So we've got that balance in the back of the pelvis, okay? And I just want you to take the arms out wide, turn the palms up, make sure those shoulders stay down, so you don't want to feel like you're peeling off the shoulders and twisting from here. And keeping the upper body nice and still, and don't go mad, just allow your knees to start to roll from one side to the other. Now I only want you to go as far as you feel a slight lift through the back of that side of the pelvis. And you feel there's a little bit of work to bring yourself back to centre without having to push heavily into the arms. So it's just a little bit of a movement across the back of the pelvis. Every time the knees come back to centre, every time you should find that you've returned your spine to neutral. So you've got that same little natural curve that we spoke of a moment ago. Just a few times, just swishing carefully one side to the other, and then bring it back to centre and just settle. Now, from where you are, just engage the muscles of the inner thighs, groin and pelvic floor. So that little diamond of muscle that runs from the pubic bone to the tailbone and from sitting bone to sitting bone, just get a feeling of drawing those 4 points gently together. You might find a corresponding tightness into your glutes, maybe a slight tightening around the upper outer edge of the hips. That's fine. Don't try and hold your breath as you do that, okay? Just find that gentle drawing up, consistent drawing up. Shoulders stay relaxed and the arms now are down by the side of the body with the palms down. Going to move into shoulder bridge, so keep the weight evenly placed around the soles of the feet. So the ball of the big toe, the ball of the little toe and the centre of the heel all connect to the ground. On the next outward breath, you're going to tip the bowl of water over your chest by pressing the low back down into the floor. And then when you can't tip your bowl of water anymore, that's when you start to press down, not away, but down through the feet. Keep that emphasis of trying to tip the water over the chest as you do that. Your bum will squeeze, your bum will tighten, you should still be lifting gently pelvic floor. You may have noticed your abdominals engage, shoulders stay relaxed, the gaze hasn't changed, position of the chin hasn't changed. As you breathe in, really lengthen out through the front edge of your knees. Stay soft in the breastbone and the ribs. Breath in, as you breathe out, melt it back down again, relax that tension in the shoulders, roll down through the spine, bone by bone. Release the spine back to that same natural curve we started from. Keep that slight lift of pelvic floor. And again. So we try to tip the water over the chest by just drawing the low back down into the floor. Feel how that corresponding tightness begins to engage through the glutes. Press down firmly through the feet. Notice that perhaps you feel a sense of tightening through the abdominals as those muscles contract to shorten the front edge of the body. Roll along the spine just to the base of the shoulder blades. Don't need to go any higher. You're definitely not pushing up into the neck. I don't want you to do it, but I want you to know that if you needed to, you could turn your head. Take a breath in as you breathe out. Think of really pressing some length into that spine as you roll back down. Relax the shoulders. Lengthen, lengthen. Release the spine to neutral and then repeat. If you can hear rustling in the background, that's TCMC doing something. No idea what. Anyway, stop now. Giving him a Paddington hard step. And again. So you're going to draw that low back through, keep that slight lift of pelvic floor, those 4 points pulling together. You're going to press into the feet, roll along the spine. No stress or tension in the upper body. No overlifting. Don't get too enthusiastic with the breastbone or the ribs. Keep reaching out. Imagine your spine as a bicycle chain and that you're just letting each link roll down in sequence and bring it all the way back down this time. Lovely. Just bring your right knee into your chest and you can hold either across the shin or behind the thigh, it doesn't matter. Just hug it in. If it's not comfortable to press it onto the abdomen, just move it slightly off to the side. But just draw that in and see how that flattens that low back. Still keep the upper body relaxed. If you feel like you're overreaching, then put something behind your head. From here, still with that knee drawn in, just slide the other leg away, but keep the heel down on the floor. And as you breathe out, press the back of your left thigh down towards the floor, heel connecting to the floor, and at the same time, draw the right knee towards you. As you breathe in, just relax that a little. And again, so you're going to pull the right knee in towards you. As you lengthen the left leg, keep the heel down and press the back of the thigh down. So it's a really, really silly joke, but I always tell it. Just makes me snigger. So at this point, as you release, you want to channel your inner Soviet spine because you want to soften off a bit. It's really stupid, but I can't help myself. I really can't. And then relax. Replace that foot back down, change sides. You're going to bring the left knee in, let that back flatten, extend that right leg away, press down through the back of the thigh. You'll notice that my knee doesn't fully straighten. That's my replaced knee. So don't worry if you find that you've got little bits and bobs that don't seem to do as much as you might imagine. As you breathe out, you're going to slide that left heel, still connecting to the floor, away from you. Press down through the right thigh. Did I say left then? Right, we're definitely talking right. Lengthen that right leg. At the same time, draw in through the left knee. And then, Commander, soften off a bit. I don't get out enough. As you breathe out, do it again. Slide away that right leg. Draw in with the left. Press down through that back of that right thigh, heel stays connected. Breathe in, release, do that one more time. So we're just trying to pull some distance between the left knee and the right foot. And then relax. Replace. Take the arms out wide, and again, just softly let the knees roll from side to side, maybe turning the head to the opposite side as well. A little bit of rotation. Rotation is one of those movements that perhaps we lack. And it's really important that we have good rotation if we want good spinal movement. Okay, you're going to roll yourself all the way over onto your tummy. Okay, So I talk about this a lot, and when we do spinal extensions to open up the front of the chest, it's really important that we don't simply just lump everything into the lumbar spine. Lengthen your legs away as if somebody was trying to pull the legs out of the bottom of your trousers. And try to press those hip creases either side of the pubic bone, try to press those down into the mat. And you want to press a little bit to those hip creases, a little bit to the pubic bone, onto the hip bones and into the lower ribs as well. So it feels that this whole space behind that area remains open. So your lumbar spine still has its curve, but it's just not exaggerated, and we definitely don't want to feel like we're just lifting straight from there. One hand on top of the other, forehead onto the hands, legs long, feet down. Keep that pressure evenly down through the front edge of the pelvis and lightly engage those abdominals. And putting little or no pressure into the arms at all. As you breathe in, slide the breastbone forward, draw the shoulder blades down. Just float from the face, upper ribs. Don't lift out of the lower ribs and then lower back down. This length in the back of the neck doesn't actually change. As you breathe out, slide away, float. Keep that pressure down through the front edge of the pelvis. If you feel as you peel your upper body from the floor, if you feel compression pulling immediately into your low back, then you're probably not working with a good set pelvis. You might need to rethink that. So as you breathe out, you're going to just let that breastbone glide forward, let the shoulder blades slide down, keep that front edge of the pelvis down, press lightly to the pubic bone, to the hip creases either side, and then release. Notice that we're maintaining that length in the neck, that we're engaging those abdominals. Think of wearing that corset. It's really easy to push out through your belly when you're lying on it, so to avoid doing that if you can. So abdominals wrap around like a corset, press into the front edge of the pelvis, pubic bone, hip creases, hip bones. Keep the legs down, slide the breastbone forward, lengthen the front edge of the body, slide the shoulder blades down at the back as if you're just trying to tuck your shoulder points into your back pockets. And don't try and go too high. You're not going to go high on this. It's not a big movement. We're just trying to get some movement from behind the breastbone. Those of you that have ever worked with us with using the squashy balls, either the small mini balls or the midi balls, will know that we put the ball sometimes right behind the breastbone to try and access this movement that goes right behind the breastbone. So just very carefully bring yourself up to hands and knees and give yourself a little round out through the back, and then take a seat. So what we're looking for, if you could push your hand from your breastbone right through to come out the other side. So if you go through here and then sort of come out the same point behind you, you're really looking at, so my shoulder blades are just here, okay, they're my pointy shoulder blades, and just above the lower portion of that, just behind my breastbone there, that's where I'm looking for. And what I want to do is get a feeling of being able to move just from there, not from my low back, and it's just a nudging, it's not a big movement. So if you've got the capacity to weave your arms around, have a go at this. Sort of nice and tall, you don't have to sit on the floor, but you just want to get a feeling of being able to lift the breastbone and feel that little bit of movement between the vertebra in that upper back. And that's really what you're looking for. It is quite small, okay? It's quite subtle. And if you don't feel that, keep working on it, because it's important that you have this mobility. Okay, moving on. We're going to move now into a rotation. This is where you might need to think about getting a pillow or a cushion. And if you get a pillow or cushion, you're going to put it underneath the head because you want your head to stay more or less on a single line. So getting a pillow or a cushion is fine, or using yoga blocks if you've got them, Or if you haven't got anything, I'm sure you have, but another option is just simply to use your arm. So what you're going to do is fold your arm in half, and your hand is going to act as your support as your head turns. So if you're not sure what we're going to do, some of you will have done this previously, but if you're not sure what you're going to do, just hang fire and watch while I set you up. So we've got the elbow bent and the head resting. I tend to put mine more or less where my watch is, so my hand kind of just flaps behind me. Okay, shoulders are down. I've got shoulder above shoulder, shoulder above shoulder, and I've got hip above hip. I want to have my knees bent and put my heels in line with my bottom. Okay, and then you want to glue those together like you've got both feet in one shoe and both legs in one trouser. So this is side lying open door, and it's very often done with the arm reaching forward. But I find people get much better movement if they just take the other hand behind the head. So what's going to happen is we're going to just keep the pelvis and the legs really still. Keep a slight corset. Really think of lengthening away. Keep that feeling of length. A slight lift underneath the waist. And as you breathe in, you're going to bring your elbow up to the ceiling. So you're just opening across the chest. Then the idea is that supporting the weight of the head, either on a cushion or blocks or in the hands as I've got, you just start to move the ribs back. It's almost as if you're trying to open your chest up to the ceiling and then bring it back to center. It's not about getting the shoulder onto the floor. If you can get the shoulder onto the floor behind you and your upper back completely flat, without moving your hips from this upright position or moving your legs, then you have way more rotation than I have. And really, as your upper body only has a rotation of 35 to 40 degrees, unless you're some sort of weird contortionist, you're probably not going to get anywhere near getting that top shoulder onto the floor behind you. But what you will be getting without strain is a rotation that just gently opens up the chest. You might get a little bit of stretch in that front shoulder. That's fine. The head is well supported with the hands, or perhaps you've got cushions. Just do that one more time. Inhaling as you come up and open, and then exhaling to bring it back. Okay, push carefully up. You might find, if you've got any shoulder issues, that using pillows or cushions or whatever it might be is better, because you might find that if you've got any shoulder issues, having the arm outstretched and then having the head just resting, you definitely don't want your head just hanging in thin air though. Okay, so you can either turn around and put your back to me, I don't mind, or you can just turn around so you can still see what we're doing. So again, I'm going to use my hand. I'm giving you this opportunity to do this with the hand in this position, because I appreciate that not all of you might be at home when you dive into these videos. So if you're in the office and you've locked the door and closed the blinds on the office and hunkered down behind your desk, you might not have access to pillows and blocks and bricks and all the rest of it. So this is just an option. So again, head rests. I tend to go towards the wrist. Hand just is ready then to catch my head. Shoulder above shoulder, hip above hip. Body is long, slightly engaged. I've got my knees bent, my heels in line with my bottom. I've got my top hand now just resting behind the head. No real effort or force. As you breathe in, you're going to open the top elbow and then let that gently lead you into a rotation, keeping that top hip upright. You'll want to roll backwards, and you'll roll back really easily, but we're trying to identify the movement in the upper back. And if you start twisting around at the pelvis as well, then you're not gaining anything in your upper back. And again. So choosing how you breathe, whether you choose to breathe in as you rotate or out as you rotate, I don't mind, as long as you're still, as always, breathing in through the nose, breathing into the fullness of the rib cage, and not holding your breath. So maintaining that slight corset around the center of the body. Let's just do a couple more of those. Head again, well supported on whatever you've chosen. Oh, what an idiot. Chosen to use. So your head is well supported and there's no strain in the neck. Bring it back to center and just take a moment. And then press into the hands and come up to seated. Okay, so give your shoulders a bit of a shrug out. Just notice how the neck feels. We're done. There you go. Just a little bit of work to open up around the upper back, upper body, and see if that just helps to alleviate any stiffnesses and tightnesses. And let me know how you get on with it, and I will see you soon. Take care.